are going to learn how to draw a multiple point perspective. Something that may be more common in when you're seeing things in front of you than you may realize. So we're going to do something just like this. We're going to draw some boxes and we're going to utilize what you've already learned basically and put two of them together. 1 point perspective like this guy and 2 point perspective, because you'll often find this just in nature. So this is sort of an example, and in this case we're using some shadowing and casting, which is basically the object will cast a shadow. So I will just move this out of the way. I'm taping down my paper so it doesn't move on us. And you guessed it, we're going to do the horizon line. There we go. And for starters, I'm going to draw in a vanishing point 1, vanishing point 2. So I'm basically going to create a bunch of boxes and maybe a couple interesting shapes too. So I'll start with something that's maybe a little off center. Something that you may notice in some of the best art is a lot of them are designed in 2/3. So if this is basically our drawing sort of space, 2/3, you know, like that. So this guy's taken up 2/3. So there's a piece, you know, a main piece in 1/3 and then other thirds, uneven numbers at the very least. So vanishing point 1, and I'm not using the ruler this time, you notice? We're going to try and go a little more loosey-goosey. If this is too frustrating for you, then get your ruler out. Do what works for you best. And there's box number 1. I'm just going to sort of darken up the edges so it's more visible for you. All right, now this one we used 2 vanishing points, so 2 point perspective. We're going to place a box in front of it, like right here, and it's not on this same angle. That's the thing, it's going to be on a different angle. So this is the front of our box. And so this is my vanishing point. See that? It still looks right. Okay. So maybe we'll do another one with 2 point perspective and we'll make it sort of behind this guy, which means we will sort of do our construction lines, also known as convergence lines. Maybe we'll make this box way larger. I know when I'm organizing things, I like to put the biggest stuff at the back so you can see the little stuff so it doesn't get buried. All right. So there we go. And you'll notice that because we are below the horizon line, we're not seeing, or like our vantage point is below the horizon line, we're not seeing the tops of these boxes, but we can see the top of this guy. As we do a couple boxes lower, so let's do a lower box with the 2 vanishing points right here. I'm a little sketchy. I'm never good at the perfect line. I don't know if you are. So because we're so much lower than the horizon line here, no, oh, too many lines. I'm getting myself confused. And so here comes the ruler. There we go. If you're finding you got too many lines, pull your eraser out. Okay, so this is below the horizon line. You see the tops of these boxes. If we go a lot further above, you'll see the bottoms of them, right? Okay, so let's do a tube. Let's say there's a shipping tube sitting on top of this box. So we're going to start out with a box like we have done in the past. It's going to be overlapping this guy. So I'm just going to mimic these lines to sort of simplify. And I want it to be square. And so then I'm going to draw my circle in there. And just darken this line. And sort of an oval to match this one. And there we have a little shape there. So like before, this was in a box. I kind of cut the corners off with my circle, do the circle within the box. And then sometimes it's kind of good to just get the feel. You don't have to like actually put pressure on it, get the feel for the circle, and then come over here and mimic it. And there you go. So the next sort of fun in this is adding the shading. So maybe I'll pull out my marker. It's pretty fine. And then another thing I do to avoid smudging is I use a piece of paper. So you can use your ruler if you want. I want this to be kind of sketchy and illustrated looking. I don't want it to look too perfect. There we go. I'm just going to outline a little bit. To help you see it a little better as well. There we go. So when we're done outlining, I'm doing this just for clarity mostly. We're going to add some shading, value, it's also known as. So we have to pick a light source. So the light source could be ceiling lights, which we could draw in, and maybe that's what we'll do. I'll pencil some ceiling lights in after I've done this. Right, so let's get some ceiling lights in, and I think we'll kind of make them something kind of interesting. We can make them, you know, the long kind of ceiling lights that you would have had in school maybe. So this is a big box. So we'll stick them kind of up here. I would say you can line them up that way. And then this way. Okay, so let's say maybe a row of lights. So this will be like the first one, and then this second one. Let's do like 5. I'm keeping with there. I'm keeping with the uneven numbers that we like. Okay, so I'm going to make them like a half tube. And yeah, I'm really bad at the Straight lines. I like curves, so let's do some curves here. So that's light number 1. Right? There. So this is a good way to visualize how the light fills your room. Now, if you want it to be do much better than what I did, you can, this would be better. Whoops. Problem with using paper, right? A little more accurate. I wasn't going for accuracy, it's going for fun this time. All right, so this is our light source, right? Each one is going to go in this direction down on these guys. So the light is more sort of behind these boxes. So you're going to have a little shadow on this side. Same with this guy. This is basically its side, which is away from the light. Same with this guy. He's on the same angle as that. Okay, now this guy here, same thing, right? What gets interesting here is this guy's right underneath these lights, isn't he? He's right underneath, especially this one right here. And then he's got these 2 light sources on him here. He's got a little less light on this side, whereas this guy has a little more light on that side. So he might have a little more light show up here and a little less light show up down here. Now, as far as casting goes, which means it's casting a shadow, there would be some shadow here, but probably not a great deal, so it might shadow up to about here. This is something you can have some fun doing at home. Get some different objects out, get a flashlight out, even the light on your phone. Place it on especially a white surface and get an idea and really look at where the shadows go. That will greatly inform your work. And of course you can look at light and shadow everywhere you go because, that's what you've got. Now, right now I have a light right here, and so face is brighter here. I've got some shading or shadow here. This guy would have a little more over here. Now I'm not going too crazy here on this, because I think I'm going to pull out some markers. I've got some grays. Sorry, I'm going to disappear for a second. I've got some colors. I think I'll just stick to the grays. Okay. I think I've told you guys I like Copic. I'm going to edit this out. All right. So I'm kind of a fan of Copic. So I've got a C5, a C3. So the lower the number, the lighter, and a 7. I use these a lot when I do caricature commissions, just for basic shading, and then kind of add some color in sometimes with them. So I'll start with a light one, just to give you guys a feel for it. It's pretty light. Can you even see that? Yes. Because I like to start light and build up. So I love these tips. We can have a lot of fun with these tips. Blend them a little. Get a little bit lighter at the top. All right. Okay, and we'll go C5, a little bit darker. Yep. I like this end. Use whatever you like best. There we go. Now this is round, so you're not going to get the same sort of flatter effect you will get from the boxes here. Yeah, with markers you quite often do what I'm doing here. It's to get it a little less streaky. The scribbling thing can work, but that's why I'm not that much of a fan of markers for finished. I kind of like, I'm a paint person. Paint or pencil for me. There we go. See? That's why I like to go in the same direction, because I don't like the... But you might like it. You try all the things. Find out what works for you. Okay, and let's go darker for the casted shadows. Now with marker, you can do much the same as you can with pencil. If you want it to be a little darker at a certain spot, then just add more ink. I kind of, and less pressure. More pressure for darker, less pressure for lighter. There we go. There. There might be a little bit of light on the shadow around the light fixtures themselves, but not too much really. It'll be pretty bright up there. You can see more with them off. Just for fun. There, and that's how, with understanding perspective and lighting and shadowing and value and casting, you can make some art really pop.